Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Monday, everyone. Time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So as you can see, have not put all the cars in here for the night quite yet. So looks very spacious in here, but just wait till everything comes in for the night. It's gonna be very crowded. Anyway, so today Rafa was off due to some personal business that he had to attend to. So just me inside the shop, and then Santiago and Rene were out in their respective areas. And so why don't we see what happened here today with me first, and then we'll talk about those guys in a little bit. So this one we're trying to finish up. Had a good conversation with the owner about the last couple items that we're going to try and knock out on this one. And so one of them was to put on these very cool mud flaps that he has. So he had mud flaps on there before, but they were not nearly as cool. They were white and they just had like a VW symbol on them. Not sure where those came from or whatever, but yeah, these appear to be, or I believe these were NOS. Like they didn't even have holes all the way through in the rubber where the mounting locations are. So pretty sure these are original NOS mud flap. So super cool that he had those. And then the other, well, a couple other things back here. Another is the accessory. Some people call it a cheese grater. It's a good name for it. That kind of bridges the two tailpipes there. It's purely cosmetic, like a dress up item. It doesn't really do anything per se, but it looks kind of cool. So that went back on, and well, not major, but one thing was that this overrider support here was jammed all the way up against the hole in the body, and then there was no grommet in there when the car came in. So it looked pretty bad. So pretty much what I did was pulled off the overrider tube, and it had a little bit of a bend in it, so I straightened it out. And then another thing that kind of compounds that is that the mud flap mounts, which, let me grab a light so I can show you this better. Okay, here we go. So anyway, as I was saying, another thing that kind of compounded this being shoved to the outside of that hole was the fact that the mud flap mounts, which you can kind of see, kind of see right there. They're basically sandwiched in between the body, and then there's the bumper mount, and then the, what do you call it? The mud flap mount, and then finally on the very outside, you can see there the tube is the tube for the overrider support. So that inherently kind of pushes the overrider support tube that way. So, a few things kind of with it, again, it was bent, and then it's kind of stacked a little bit toward the outside. And so anyway, pulled it out, straightened it, tweaked it a little bit, and got a new pair of grommets and put those in and managed to get it through the hole with the grommet in it and everything else. The other thing was, and it's better, it's still not perfect, was that the way this overrider support was laying on the bumper, it was pretty wonky. It's still not perfect as far as how, it's sort of like lined up with the bumper, but way, way, way better. See, this side actually lays super nice. This side's still off a little bit, but it's a lot better. So we'll take that as a minor victory. But anyway, yeah, so grommets on both sides, repainted the overrider supports, and then let's come back to the mud flaps for a second here. So the mud flap mounts themselves were just kind of rusty and gross. And so, of course, we can't leave things like that. So pulled them off and sandblasted them and painted them, put in new hardware. The hardware was all gross. Likewise, the bumper hardware was all gross. So put in new hardware there. And I did have to modify the mud flap mounts a bit. I guess the other mud flaps that he had in here were, I don't know, like shaped a little bit different, or the holes were kind of in a different place. And so these, I had to trim shorten the mud flap mounts to move the mud flaps more inboard that way, or they were hitting very bad on the fender on the outside here. This one's still kind of like barely touching. The other side has a little bit more space in there, but yeah, they wouldn't even go on before I shortened those. So shortened those, had to put some new holes in them, not a big deal. And then again, painted them and stuff like that. So that is what happened on the back of this car. So few things in the automobile world I think better looking than the rear view mirror of an oval window Beetle. Possible exception of a split window Beetle, or equal at least. Anyway, so there you go. What else today? So the other minor thing is I finally got around to putting his rear view inside mirror back in, so you can see that, and he's got a cool accessory compass on there mounted in the center. And so those went back in, and let's see what else, guys. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to put this accessory mirror on. That's a passenger side mirror. It's kind of a different one than from what you normally see. Probably do that tomorrow. Today, minor thing on this mirror, the threaded post for the mirror, the hinge pin basically that's threaded for the mirror, was up like a 1/4 inch too high. In other words, it hadn't been driven all the way down, and so there was this big ugly section of threads about a 1/4 inch or so high showing there at kind of at the base of the mirror. So we can't have that. That was very ugly. So I went ahead and got the air hammer out and drove that hinge down in there the rest of the way, and then reinstalled the mirror. So tomorrow we'll get out that setup again and drive this hinge up out of here, and then that mirror came with a new pin that's threaded and the little adapters and stuff for it. So that one will go on tomorrow. I think putting that mirror on and his accessory louvers in the back window, I think those may be the last things for this car, guys. We're talking about this car leaving on this coming Saturday. So I think we're on track to do that. I just the only other major thing I need to do is take it for a drive, maybe do a little carburetor and ignition tuning on it. But other than that, should be ready to go, minus that mirror and louvers and maybe a couple other little things we think of. But yeah, super cool car. Been a fun project. I'll probably try and do like a more thorough walk around of it to showcase all the things we did to it before it leaves. So look out for that. The other thing that I did today, which is a minor thing, but a thing, on the beautiful, I need to give this one a bath too, kind of dusty. Minor thing, but again, a thing, that's how we keep projects moving forward, is I did put on the engine to body seal. So you can see the seal there going up over the transmission. That's the front one, and then the back one that runs around the perimeter of the motor here. So I put those on, and I had a little bit of a struggle with the back one. So let me talk about that for a second. So the one we had, which I don't know where, I thought I knew where it came from, but the person who I thought I got it from claimed it didn't come from him, but I'm not really sure. Anyway, let me show you this, because if you guys are ever go to install one of these, and this is the later style, if you ever see one that looks like this, run or throw it in the garbage or don't buy it or whatever. This thing is complete crap. I tried for maybe 10 minutes or so to put the seal in, and I finally think I had about 1/8 of an inch of it in. And part of the problem is this area here that actually goes into the channel that runs around the body. This is so stiff. You have to be able to essentially like deform this to get it into the kind of C-shaped channel that it goes into. And this thing is so stiff. There is no way this thing's going in. And it's very stiff overall, and I don't like the way this bottom little rib is like pressed so tightly against this vertical piece here. I don't like anything about this one. And so yeah, if you see one like this, don't even bother trying to put it in. Throw it in the garbage. Don't buy it. Whatever. So the other one that I got from said vendor is this one. And it's a German one, and this area here looks a bit better, but it was still very difficult to get in, guys. I don't think this is the same as the one that Wolfsburg West sells, although theirs is also German, so I don't know. I can't imagine how many different companies in German are making these, but I struggled with this one too. It was, obviously it went in, unlike that one, which would have never gone in. I still struggled with this one. I don't know. I felt like the rubber was still very stiff, and it just kind of fought me the whole way. And of course, I got it in. But usually the Wolfsburg West ones, again, when the channel itself is all prepared and cleaned and straightened out and stuff, they go in like minutes. This took way longer than that. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. I would say for these seals, stick to Wolfsburg West. I can vouch for those. They go in very easily, and they look and feel great. This one may or may not be the same as Wolfsburg West, but I don't think it is, because it didn't go in anything like what I'm used to with theirs. So anyway, there's that. So why don't we step outside for a second, and I'll give you guys an update on the white 67 Beetle. Hold on. All right, guys, here we are. So Rene and Raul have been continuing to work on this. Raul was mostly like sanding up in here and especially down in here today, and then Rene shot a coat of primer on it. It's looking really good here. This area honestly almost looks like ready for paint. Super nice in this area. So that's kind of what Raul was working on, the trunk area. Rene has been working on the roof of this, and it was all rusted out in here. So we did get a donor roof, and so Rene was like slicing and dicing. He replaced a big section over here, replaced a section in here. I think he replaced a section. See, his work's so good now, I can't even find it. Kind of like the polishing or the blending and stuff he did on this car. It's really pretty much impossible to find it. He did replace this area back here too, which unfortunately the roof that we had ended about here somewhere. So he actually fabricated this piece right here, including this curve and stuff like that. So that's how talented this dude is. So this has been replaced. And then in this area here, there were some rust pinholes that he ground out and basically just welded those closed. And I don't think, yeah, so he's got some work to do over here still. But yeah, the roof on this thing's come along super fast. And it was probably one of the worst areas of the car was the roof. And then I would say the worst area of the car is the rear apron, which I managed to source pretty much a complete rear clip for this car. And I'll probably be picking that up this week. But yeah, the roof and the rear apron were definitely the worst sections of this car. The rest of it, well, I take that back, guys. So that and that. Okay, those are the other worst sections of the car. So anyway, but yeah, Rene is not afraid of anything. He will make those look amazing. So I think that is the update on this one. Hold on a second. Okay, guys, so hate to keep teasing you about the green bus and its interior. It's literally like this close to done. He did some extra work that we hadn't necessarily anticipated on, and I will explain that probably tomorrow, but it looks amazing like everything else that Santiago and our team, for that matter, have done. Oh, I almost forgot. One other thing. So today I did finally fire this puppy up here, and it seems to be free of leaks now. So again, had some leaks on a couple of main case studs, and then I think like one or maybe two push rod tubes might have been leaking a little bit, but that's all taken care of now. So I believe we are going to put this motor on the dyno over at Roth Vintage, and that'll allow us to see what kind of power and torque it makes, which you know, it's just a number, but also he does have a wideband setup on there, so we can shove that in there and do some tuning on these carburetors. SU carburetors, of course, you can kind of adjust the mixture with a big nut on each one somewhat. So might have to play around with that a little bit. I think it's running a little bit rich now. It's a little bit of too rich type smoke coming out. So, but yeah, once we get this thing on the dyno and get a air fuel reading on it, then we should be able to hopefully get it pretty dialed in. So, all right, guys, that is actually it for today. So thank you as always for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.